So, Fremont Lee here. Views and opinions expressed in this video are those of the person saying it. That's me, Fremont Lee. It is July 20th as I am recording this. I hope all is well with you. I hope you're staying hydrated, eating healthy, maybe, cheating on your diet a little bit. If you're on the diet, I'm just saying. Not too much, stay healthy. I have a few movies and stuff I want to talk about. First, here's a picture of an option I had for one of my high school senior photos. I look a little different. Smile's still there though. When it can be. Rearranging stuff a little bit, sorry. It's clusterfuck in here. Paramount Comedy Theater, Volume 3. America's Hottest New Comedians, Hanging Party, hosted by Howie Mandel. It is the VHS thereof. Copyright 1986. Rich Scheidner, Susan Healy, Monty Hoffman, Billy Riddick, Mark McCullum. He does a Popeye routine.
Sweet pea.
He plays guitar while doing it. Hosted by Rodney. Howie Mandel. I think he was okay with touching people, shaking hands at that point. I'm not sure when that all started. I think I got this at like a video store. No, I don't think it was a video store. It just seems to be in shitty condition. I have moved since way back. So you figure 1986, when that was copyrighted. I probably got it from a video store going out of business or getting rid of some of their stock to make room for new stuff. I don't know. This is a decent movie. Plain Clothes. Copyright 1988. Arliss Howard. I'm thinking Susie Amos. Yes, Susie Amos. Also in the movie are George Wendt, Diane Ladd, Abe Vigoda, Seymour Castle, and Robert Stack. He's been mistaken for someone like high school all his life or whatever. Except when he was younger, I think the joke was that he was more grown up when he was a kid, or acted more grown up when he was a kid. And now that he's an adult, he still looks like he's in high school. In those movies, the story goes that his brother is accused of killing a teacher or stabbing a teacher. I don't know if the teacher died. I don't know. But because he's a police officer and his younger brother is sort of gotten in trouble for this, he ends up going back to high school undercover, hence the name Plain Clothes, to find the perpetrator that killed the teacher and framed his brother. Robert Stack plays the principal, comes out with a wooden board. To which he says, "I thought that was outlawed." Oh, I make the rules here. he does he recites the poem "She," being brand new, by E. Cummings. Excuse me a second. It is coffee. I don't like it hot. Like hot. Hot. I don't like it cold either. That'd be iced coffee. Iced coffee is a different thing. But if you've ever had coffee, you know what I'm talking about. If you've never had coffee, oh, I don't know what he's talking about. Ooh, I love a good cup of tea. Same difference. It's like hot cocoa. Hot cocoa is great. You let it cool down a little, but it's too hot, not too much. Of course, when it gets really cold, then it's like tastes like the powder. Depending on which hot cocoa you get. I'm saying. America's Wackiest New Hero. They Call Me Bruce, starring Johnny Yoon, Margot Hemingway. Copyright 1840. No, kidding. According to this, copyright 1991. For Best Picture, adjust VCR tracking control. 30-day limited warranty from purchase date. Should this video be defective, return to place of purchase for exchange of same title. Yeah, 1991. Go figure. I'm fairly certain I've seen it. It's just looking at the pictures on the back, I don't recall any of those being in the movie. When an innocent young Oriental man becomes involved in a tangled web of chaos after he comes to America to fulfill his grandfather's dying wish. A Bruce Lee wannabe, he gets tricked into running drugs when the Italian mafia family he cooks for mistakenly believes that he is a martial arts expert. His zany misadventures wreak havoc across the country. It was in one town. I don't across the country. I'm not even sure if any of these actually take place in the movie. Well, actually, I do remember him getting hit in the head with a purse. I don't know. Recently, Kenneth Branagh did the Agatha Christie Murder on the Orient Express. Great new cast. Not new cast, but big names in the cast. Johnny Depp, Josh Gad. I say big name, but what's her name? Give me a second. Judi Dench, I think. The reason I bring that up, Murder on the Orient Express. Agatha Christie's Murder on the Orient Express. Heck, that even looks like Johnny Depp. Problem is, it isn't. Albert Finney, Lauren Bacall, Martin Balsam, Ingrid Bergman, Jacqueline Bisset, Jean-Pierre Cassel, Sean Connery, John Gielgud, Wendy Hiller, Anthony Perkins, Vanessa Redgrave, Rachel Roberts, Richard Widmark, Michael York. Uh, 1974, copyright. The thing is, if the one with Kenneth Branagh finishes, yeah, well, if they follow the same storyline as this or as the book, they all did it. Well, except Albert Finney. He's, private detective trying to figure out who done it. I don't mean to spoil that for you, but it was a great lead up. It was a great, whatever. But if it follows the same storyline, then what the fuck's the point in making the goddamn thing? It'd be like remaking Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure, and instead of bringing in different uh, historical figures, they bring in the same shit, and it's like, okay, whatever. It's like you couldn't, like, make something different. Just did it have to fall? It was like the remake of Psycho when they redid that. It was shot for shot the same fucking movie, just with Vince Vaughn and Anne Hesh in the character of Anthony Perkins and Janet Leigh, respectively, of course. Only difference was in Alfred Hitchcock's Psycho back in 19 way back when, with Janet Leigh and Anthony Perkins, they used chocolate syrup for blood. It was a black and white movie. You couldn't tell. Sorry, little yogurt. Yogurt and coffee. But yeah, it's like, I mean, if they're going to remake the movie, they could have at least, made it and ended it different. Like one person did instead of all of them. You're all guilty. Yeah, but let's see, And then I don't know what I never watched it. I did. It was like, if it's a 3-hour movie, I'd gladly sit through this one than watch that one again, or watch. I would rather sit through this one again than watch the new one. I mean, unless they did something different. I don't know. Here comes the boom. Kevin James. Selma Hayek. I want to say at some point she started going by her married name, like Selma Hayek Pranal. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that correctly. Oh. Henry Winkler is also in it. He is right here. Joe Rogan does. Well, that guy. I can't. It was a good movie. Copyright was like 2015, 2014. I'm looking for it. Sorry. 2013. It's close. One more year, I would have gone back far enough. It was a good movie. Budget cuts are cut the music department unless they can get like the $50,000 or whatever for the thing. So he decides to do the MMA fight, and he's like, "Are you kidding?" And he makes like $50 or whatever the first thing. And he's like, "But I lost." Yeah, but you fought, so you got something. So the more he goes on, he didn't have to win. He just and he kept giving the money to the person in charge of the thing. Well, they ended up stealing the money. Spoiler. Oh, I should have said spoiler. Oh. Still, it's good. It's a good movie. You actually can. He actually transforms from like that. He's like big and heavy, but once he starts doing all that working out, you actually notice. I'm gonna save this one. That one's last. Okay, let's go with Bill Hicks. Satirist, social critic, stand-up comedian. Bill Hicks live. There's a couple of different things on here. One Night Stand from the Old Vic Theater in Chicago. Relentless, Bill's breakout performance at the Montreal Comedy Festival, and Revelations from the Dominion Theater in London. As a bonus, the documentary Just a Ride, quotated Just a Ride, surveys Bill's remarkable career with insights from his peers, including Brett Butler, Eddie Izzard, Richard Jeni, Jay Leno, David Letterman, and Thea Vidal. Approximately 45 minutes, excuse me. Um, my tattoo, it's just a ride. This is supposed to be the symbol of life. It looks like an anchor, but I don't know because you get something from a tattoo place and it's like, ooh. But he's the reason I got that. It's just a ride. It's referring to life. He had a bit. He talks about it. He's like, what is the meaning of my story? I should have one. It's my story. Yeah. 'Cause it was his comedy special. Then he said, life is like a roller coaster, has its ups and downs, goes round and round. It's brightly colored and very loud, and it goes on for a while. And those of us that have been on it for a while are like, wow, this is a really long ride. Something, but yeah, life is it's like a roller coaster. It has its ups and downs, round and round. I first saw him on a late night comedy special that I think either Comedy Central was airing or maybe MTV. I don't remember exactly. I want to say I recorded it from the television. I don't mean to make this hand gesture. Um, sorry. It was I think NBC, like they were showing something late night, which 2 a.m., 1 a.m., something after the talk shows, Jay Leno, Tonight Show, whatever you want to call them. Those shows ended. Uh, Craig Ferguson. I think Dennis Miller had one at one point, but this is going back a ways because uh, yeah. But I recorded it off the television. I may have gotten a couple of commercials in. When I bought the DVD of the performance of that, which I do not think either of these are it. Relentless might be, but I don't think it is because I don't remember if that was on it. Uh, but when I bought the DVD and watched it, I was like, it wasn't the same order that it was aired on television that I was used to. I mean, the ending was there, the beginning was there, but the stuff in the middle was like something. It didn't seem right. It was like they edited stuff out or rearranged it a little when they aired it on television. So I don't know. Copyright? I don't fucking remember. 2004. Bill, of course, passed away from. Um, Bill learned he had cancer, choosing to keep his illness secret. He told his family, a few close friends, and went straight back to work. In August of 1993, Bill's brother Steve flew to LA, and together they packed Bill's belongings into his Jeep and drove to Little Rock, Arkansas, where Bill moved into his parents' home. Throughout the year, Bill underwent chemotherapy on a weekly basis. The tour dates didn't let up, and his writing pace accelerated. Uh, okay, right. Saturday, February 26th, 1994. Bill died. It was pancreatic cancer, I believe. May have said in there. I didn't read it all, but yeah. Sorry. This is one of my favorite movies. Parts of it, not all of it. Like with everything, I don't. Not everything is like, oh yeah, that's the beans. Some of it's like, oh, that's shit. Uh, Teachers: Jo Beth Williams, Nick Nolte, Judd Hirsch. I was that close to saying Samuel L. Jackson. Morgan Freeman, uh, Richard Mulligan. Now, if I had a history teacher that did that, that would have made history class more exciting. He plays a mental patient, a former mental patient who answers somebody else's phone and takes over a teaching job. But he made history class more exciting. Um, and he asked in this scene, I believe he asked, "What's the river we're crossing?" They'd yell out something, "No!" And he'd correct them. It'd be correct. "No, we're crossing this one." "Yes." "Now where are we going?" "Do this." "All right." At least I think that's what he said afterwards. But could you imagine teacher teaching like that? I mean, you got the kids involved. Everyone's more excited about learning. Yeah, yeah. Then it comes out. Are you? No, sir. Are you? Yes. Uh, these men are here for you. Laura Dern. Laura Dern is in this. I say that because I couldn't remember the last time when I mentioned the movie Teachers. I was like, what's her face from Jurassic Park? Somebody typed in uh, Laura Dern. I was like, yeah, yes. It's like Morgan Freeman is also in this. He has like a bit part. He plays the attorney for the school because um, the parents and or child is suing the school because the kid graduated without knowing how to read. And this takes place in 1984, copyrighted 1984. Um, yeah, Jo Beth Williams, Judd Hirsch, Ralph Macchio, Alan Garfield, Lee Grant, Richard Mulligan, Laura Dern, and Stephen Hill. Also in this, which they did not mention, is Royal Dano as Ditto. He's the teacher that every class is orderly, and he's won the orderly class award for 4 years running, something like that. And he's like, ooh, yeah. Uh, his He'd be in the office cranking out the copies with the mimeograph thing or whatever, the copy machine at the time, and it's like, the fluid and everything you had to spray on the thing, and he'd be making the copies that way, which is why they called him Ditto. uh, Royal Dano was in House 2, the second story, with Air Gross, Bill Maher. It's the follow up to the movie House that starred William Catt, Richard Mall, George Wendt was in it. In House 2, John Ratzenberger is in it. Uh, I just thought that was funny. Anyway, yeah. Anyway, for teachers, the student and the parents are suing the school because he graduated without learning how to read. So they're going over the school's being sued, and William Shallert plays the principal or the vice principal. I can't remember. But it's like it's like this much of the movie. This much is like Nick Nolte and stuff. But it's, they're in the an office discussing the thing, and it's like, uh, Does he go to the school? And William Schallert is like, I don't know. And Morgan Freeman, as the lawyer, says, well, that's good. He said, I really don't know. It's like they kept him in the dark about everything. So it's like, but he's being taken away. Spoilers about teachers. Fremont Lee here. Views and opinions expressed in this video are mine. How you doing? Hope all is well with you. Anyway, Richard Mulligan has been taken away by the men in white coats because he's not an escaped mental patient. He just, yeah. Anyway, he's dressed as Benjamin Franklin. He's holding a kite. He's got the bald cap on, low fake glasses that makes him look like Benjamin Franklin. And he's like, hands off me. Do you know who I am? Yeah, you're Ben Franklin, one of the founding fathers. No, sir. I am a teacher. He goes up to Nick Nolte's character and he's like, you, sir, are also a teacher. To which some sort of like bell, kind of like a ding moment type of thing where Nick Nolte's like, yeah, I'm a teacher. I mean, this whole thing. Once I've had this scene in my head at work from the movie. It's not actually happened at work. I was at work thinking of the movie, laughing at the fact that the police are there searching lockers and they're undercover, sort of like a plainclothes thing. Their undercover police officer is there to help searching lockers, and they find a locker filled with uh, a lot of paraphernalia, drug paraphernalia, and they're like, "Whose locker is this?" I was going to say Alex Rieger. Judd Hirsch, who played Alex Rieger on the television show Taxi, looks at the chart and he's like, turns around, pulls over the undercover cop, and he says, "His." I don't know why that was the only scene that I had made me laughing. There was another scene that was funny with Ralph Macchio and the guy who played the dad in Back to the Future, Crispin Glover. There was a scene where he was Ralph Macchio was given the assignment because that was the class assignment for a report, and to which he asks, so whatever we report on, no, I don't get in trouble for it. Yeah, no reprisals. Yeah, no reprisals, right? So he doesn't get in trouble for it. So he was taking pictures of like the daily life of school. There's a picture of Ditto at his desk, newspaper there, and he just, it's propped up so the class doesn't really see him, and he's just, because the students know that the student, I want to say his desk was situated so that you couldn't see him when you entered the room. So they didn't know he was sleeping, but they know that if they were out of line, they'd get big old talking to, I guess. No, and who wants to be talked to in school? Nobody really wanted. So they were orderly, and they'd come in, file in paperwork, bell would ring, they'd make sure they had everything. What was it? Oh, the pictures. There's like pictures throughout the whole thing. There's a picture of the girls' locker room. Nothing dirty. It's just some of them are there smoking, and they're like, you're drunk. She's like, oh shit. Then there's one of the teacher, and he's like in the teacher's lounge smoking a cigarette, or has a cigarette hanging out of his mouth, and they're like, and he's like, oh shit. To which Ralph Macchio looks at him, no reprisals, right? One of the photographs they show in the montage of him taking photographs. photographs, yeah, of taking the pictures with an actual camera, not like a cell phone, um, but with a 35 millimeter camera. Anyway, he's taking a picture of the undercover cop who is dressed like a 60s hippie or early 70s hippie, something. He's got like the vest, the beads, the whole fucking looking like he's supposed to be a high school student, which obviously knows nothing about what. Anyway, and he's like, "Eh." And after the picture, uh, Crispin Glover walks in with the sign, and he's like, does that, and he's like, oh, one more, and the guy got like back up again. Crispin Glover holds up a sign and it says "narc" with an arrow pointing to the guy. So it's like the students, most of the students knew that he was an undercover cop, which is why his locker was filled with all the drug paraphernalia. Whether or not it was real stuff, I don't know. They didn't actually go into detail as to whether it was real or not. You would assume so, because why else would they? I don't know, with whatever. Anyway, it was. I had the scene with the pictures in my head, the locker, and was like, because after those pictures, his report for the class about daily life in at the school, lockers are now searched, which goes to that scene. This is not the television show, the television series. This is the movie MASH. This was based somewhat on the book. This stars Elliot Gould, Donald Sutherland, Sally Kellerman, Robert Duvall. Also in it are Tom Skerritt, Joanne Flug, Renee Auberjonois. I've mentioned in other videos that Gary Berghoff is in this, and he returns to the show as Radar. G. Wood plays General Hammond in this movie, and for 3 episodes he appears on the series as General Hammond. The screenplay was by Ring Lardner. It was based on a book, the novel by Richard Hooker. Ring Lardner was not happy with the way that Robert Altman directed it. His story was kind of like not really there, or something to that effect. But he wasn't happy with it. He ended up winning the Academy Award for the movie. That's funny. Produced by Ingo Preminger, but Renee Auberjonois played Father Mulcahy. Dago Red is what they called him in the movie. On the show, I think during the first season they may have referred to him as Dago, but that was before. I think the pilot episode they may have said it. Anyway, it was not William Christopher in the pilot episode, the first episode. If you ever go back to watch that first episode that they air, Father Mulcahy is played by, I want to say George Miller, but that doesn't sound right. But it is not William Christopher. William Christopher doesn't appear until like maybe episode 4, I think. Because I know the pilot episode aired. See, this was all like 1972, so I was a little bugger. I wasn't allowed to watch the television show because my mother's husband at the time had seen the movie and was like, "No, there's no way I'm letting anyone watch it. I'm not letting the kids watch this show." that first season, the first few episodes, they were operating. There was no blood. If you go back, there's no blood. Later, as the show progressed, up here, the guy gets shot in the face with some of this, the blood because the artery or it or whatever. So he's like, um, there was an episode where Captain Pierce goes uh, from operating on one patient, walks over to another patient to help out another doctor, doesn't change his gloves, doesn't change his stuff. So it's like, ooh, that's an error. I mean, that would be totally frowned upon in a real hospital. Uh, but I mean, there wasn't real blood, and they weren't real patients, so it's nothing was stuff. But yeah, I have two more movies, and then I'm gonna do birthdays. So it is going on 37 minutes. I do thank you for watching. How are you today? I hope all is well. Staying hydrated, eating right, eating wrong. I don't, hey, are you happy? Are things good? I hope things are well. This movie is Clerks 2, signed by Kevin Smith. Yes, I paid for this to be signed by Kevin Smith. Um, loaded with over 6 hours of bonus features. I'm glad they brought them back, Dante and Randall. Uh, he wasn't thrilled. He was like, I don't know. Is there really a story to be told? Is like there a reason? I don't. Turns out, yeah. And he read the script and he was like, okay, because he was like, where would the story go? Do they grow? Do they do anything? And yeah, yeah. So it's a good follow up. Excuse me. In Chasing Amy, no, Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back. They make an appearance at the quick stop, and because Jay and Silent Bob do something, so they comment, now aren't you glad I renewed the whatever the court order is to make them like not hang around them? But so it's like it wasn't much of anything, but yeah, they came back in Clerks 3. If oh God, I hope they do it. I really hope he does it to where. But based on what I've heard, he writes in that everyone has a heart attack. Seriously, everyone. Um, maybe one of them because they're taking work. So if they go with the original ending of Clerks, if you know what it is, if you don't know what it is, I'm not going to say because they were like, whoa, downer, no, downer. That was no. So they changed it to where he just wrangles out for him, and then I think that was after Jay and Silent Bob give their little man. If I had a girlfriend that brought me lasagna, hey, whatever. But anyway, if they go for the original ending of Clerks, his character is shocked. I know I should have warned you a little bit on that. And if they go with that in Clerks 3, if they do a Clerks 3, um, if that happens, okay, then I can see him stressing out about it to where it's like, and then he has a heart attack. He has all the good lines in Clerks because Silent Bob, Kevin Smith, was actually going to play the part, but he's like, oh, I'm directing the thing. That's a lot of lines to remember, a lot of dialogue, a lot of whatever. And so he's said, well, he's going to need somebody to be next to him, like Muscle or something, to where someone to talk to that doesn't really talk back. So he's there. So if he ever, because he said if the movie Clerks bombed, like totally sucked, nobody saw it, he can at least say, yeah, see that? I was in a movie. Um, as we all know, it's done pretty well. No, I have not mentioned Rosario Dawson. Are you happy? I just mentioned Rosario Dawson. Hey, all right. But yeah, if they do a third one, that would be neat. Because he now has a daughter, Kevin Smith and Jason Mewes. Everyone knows Harley Quinn Smith. But Jason Mewes has a daughter. I want to say she's the one that appeared as Holden, Ben Affleck's character uh, from Chasing Amy, because he and Joey Lauren Adams makes an appearance in the Jay and Silent Bob reboot as the characters from Chasing Amy. Um, she's married to another woman, so and they wanted to have a child. They knew him because they dated for a while. So she asked him to be the father. So it's like, yeah, okay, and everything, whatever. And then the little girl comes in. I want to say that's Jason Mewes' daughter, Mewes apostrophe daughter, meaning whatever. Uh, but yeah, and I love that scene. There's a scene with Matt Damon. It was like, we've already filmed everything. What would we actually do? Uh, so he makes an appearance in a church like setting, and they do a scene where he's Loki uh, from Dogma. It was a transition scene to where something and whatever. So it was funny. It was like okay, because I didn't know where they were going to put it if they did that. I know they were all set to do a Mallrats 2. They had posted a bunch of pictures with them doing the peace sign, like the second one. We're going to do it too. So they had Oswald. What's the guy who played the security guard? He was in Running Man. I have to go take some more steroids. Um, I don't know. I can't remember his name, but I think you know what I'm. Olsen. Anyway, yeah, there was even with Stan Lee, Jason Lee, they were they were going to do a second one, which was the hopes of. Sorry, my last movie today, Up the Creek. I'm up the creek without a paddle. I'm up the creek, and it don't matter at all. Tim Matheson, not Don, Dan Monahan, Stephen First, Jeff East, Sandy Helberg, who plays Irwin, not Eugene. He plays Irwin in this movie. He's the father of what's his face from The Big Bang Theory, who does the Nicolas Cage impression, uh, the other impressions that he does. Blaine Novak, James B. Sicking, introducing Jennifer Runyon. Jennifer Runyon was also introduced in Ghostbusters and an episode of Magnum PI. She was on Charles in Charge, which is also another connection to today's birthdays. The other one being Dan Monahan. Dan Monahan's birthday is today. He was in Porky's. He's in Up the Creek. That's him. That's Eugene. Irwin. That's Irwin. Sandy Helberg. Oh, it's also a special appearance by John Hillerman, who was in Blazing Saddles and the television series Magnum PI. The Magnum PI with Tom Selleck, not the new one that they actually wrecked the Ferraris. And I'm like, fuck, really? They have high hopes for this. I mean, that was like in the first episode, and I was like, I couldn't watch it. It was just one of those. Probably a great show. I couldn't watch it. Maybe I also because I work nights, so it's like I'm either I'm not sure what time it airs or aired. Well, you could have checked it out online. You could have checked it out on there. Yeah, well, whatever. Anyway, this I've discussed this movie. John Hillerman plays the dean of Lopetamain University, which is not they're not sponsoring the raft race. They're sponsoring these guys in the raft race. These guys are told you're not at the bottom of the list. You are the bottom of the list. So you do this, we'll give you degrees in whatever you like. If you can find the scene on YouTube or watch the movie, it's pretty good. Uh, I don't want to say it's classic 80s cheese, but it is a fairly decent, in my opinion, movie. Um, there's always a bad guy. So there's a couple of guys that are a bad guy. Then there's someone who is trying to destroy the other people's rafts, other than uh, the other guys. Because there's a scene where it's like, you idiot, you're not wait until after you're supposed to wait until after they win the race before you get it engraved because they had they won. I would love to see a sequel to it. Maybe the children of, although it's been a while, could be grandchildren. I don't know if I can tell you the truth. Um, when I first thought of it, it was like, hey, the kids of these guys could actually, uh, maybe a nephew of one of them, because there's no way he's ever going to get laid, or whatever. But I don't know. The storyline I had followed was that the children of end up going to the university because they won the raft race. There's a little interest put into it. So we're like, oh, so they are able to fix the school up a little bit. Maybe it gets a little better. I don't know. Anyway, the kids of the school go, and they are told they it was supposed to be they were also supposed to take the raft race. It's like, no, your parents and these guys who are at the bottom of the list, they're all the bottom of the list. Of course, it couldn't be John Hillman now. He's passed away. So is Stephen First. Um, but Tim Matheson is still alive. Jennifer Runyon's still going. Dan Monahan is still. And so is Simon Helberg, played Irwin. Anyway, today's birthdays, as I was going to say, because today is June. June? What the fuck? It is July 20th. Carlos Santana. Melanie Watson, who played on Different Strokes. Kathy Baker. Diana Rigg. Muse Watson. Floated Cheerio in a Proby. Donna Dixon, Sally Ann Howes, who played Truly Scrumptious in Chitty Chitty Bang Bang in 1968. John Francis Daly, who was on Bones. Omar Epps, who was on House. He's in other things too. They were all in other things. Dean Winters, who was Mayhem, and he was in John Wick. There was a scene in John Wick where he's in a truck and it's getting the shit beat out of it because someone's like ramming him off the road and everything. And he's like, oh, I can picture his great Mayhem like me. Giselle Bundchen. It is Don Monahan. I wrote Don. If it's Dan, I'm not sure. Give me a second. Here it says Dan. I wrote Don. It might be Dan. I could be wrong on one of them. Or they were. I don't know. But he was also in Porky's, 1981, as Pee Wee, and the follow-up movies, not Pee Wee's Big Adventure, Porky's 2 the Next Day, and Porky's Revenge. He played Pee Wee. In Up the Creek, he plays Max. I already said Dean Winters. I wonder if that's why I think Dean Winters and Muse Watson are the same person. They're not. I just the names are so different, or Muse and whatever. Judy Greer, Josh Holloway, Sandra Oh, Christopher Murney, who was in Barry Gordy's The Last Dragon, uh, Julianne Hough or Hough, Hough, Frank Whaley, Charlie Corsmo, Tantu Cardinal. She was in something I can't remember. The Buffalo movie with Dances with Wolves, Kevin Costner, right? Vitamin C, Simon Rex, who was in Scary Movie 3, Saginaw Grant, who was in The Lone Ranger. I'm not sure if it was the movie that was recently out with Johnny Depp that didn't do so well. It wasn't a bad movie. They could have chosen a different Tonto. Terry Irwin, director Randall Kleiser, who directed Grease, 1978. Honey, I Blew Up the Kid, 1992. Also, Scout Willis, Bruce Willis's daughter, and I believe Demi Moore. Sandra Kern, who was on Charles in Charge. That was the Jennifer Runyon connection right there. Uh, Author, writer Cormac McCarthy. He wrote The Road and No Country for Old Men. The books. The movies were based on those. Billy Bruno, who played Gracie on According to Jim, 2001 to 2009. And the late Natalie Wood, Wendy Richard, who was on Are You Being Served? Miss Brahms, I believe. Or was Miss Brahms the one that kept talking about her pussy? British humor. Her pussy is the cat at home. Oh yes, my pussy is dry and whatever. I don't know what the fuck but it was a TV series. Are You Being Served? KT Stevens, the initials KT. She was Mrs. Morgan in Karina. Verna Felton, who was the voice of Flora and Queen Leah in Sleeping Beauty, 1959. And she did the voice of Queen of Hearts in Alice in Wonderland, 1951. Jason Reyes, who played Denahi, the voice of Denahi in Brother Bear in 2003. Chris Cornell, and Pop Smoke. I skipped yesterday when I was doing birthdays, the 19th. Jared Padalecki, Brian May, Benedict Cumberbatch, Anthony Edwards, Vanessa Shaw, Peter Barton, Beverly Archer, who was on Mama's Family and Major Dad, Lisa Lampanelli, Jim Norton, Campbell Scott, director Abel Ferrara, who directed Bad Lieutenant, 1992, George Dzunda, Mark Holton, who was the grown-up kid in A League of Their Own in 1992. You're gonna win. You're not gonna win. Peter Dobson, who was young Elvis in Forrest Gump. He's done other stuff. It's just that's the one and you don't really see his face. He's voiced over by Kurt Russell. Writer Tom McLaughlin, Friday the 13th, Part 6, Jason Lives, 1986. Freddie Moore, who pretty much gave Demi Moore her last name. He's been married to a couple of different people, but I don't think they took his last name. Pat Hingle and Dan Hicks, who was in Darkman, 1990, and Evil Dead 2, 1987. Those birthdays were for July 19th, this being July 20th as I am recording this, and I am going on 55 minutes. I apologize for taking up an hour of your time. I hope you are having a good day. Of the movies I've mentioned today, I'd probably suggest them all, or most of. They Call Me Bruce was funny. Or They Call Me Bruce, which was his question. I don't know. I would suggest Plain Clothes. It's a nice detective type thing. The comedy thing, Hanging Party. It's volume 3. I don't know if there's a volume 1 and a volume 2. If there is, I couldn't find it. But Mark McCullum, if you can look him up on YouTube, Uh, Mark, Mark, McCullum, M little c, capital C, Ollum. He does Popeye would be the thing. Murder on the Orient Express, 1974. That's the one I'd suggest. I haven't seen the recent one with Kenneth Branagh. Here Come the Boom. It was a good movie. Bill Hicks, humor comedy that a little out there but funny. Uh, Teachers, I would suggest that. That's a good one. MASH, the movie starring Donald Sutherland and Elliot Gould. Um, they had to. Elliot Gould and Donald Sutherland had a. They would end up calling each other Shirley offset or on this. When they weren't filming, it ended up in a scene uh, where one of them calls the other one Shirley. It's like, come on, Shirley, and they go off. I think that was in the hospital scene after checking the kids' paperwork. It's like, yeah, we need to see X-rays on this kid. The ones we saw were like 3 hours old or whatever it was. And then the lady comes in. It's like, you have to leave. You can't. It's like, listen, all right, just we're whatever the doctors and stuff. Ham and eggs would be good. Steak would be even better. Or no, steak. Ham and eggs would be great. Steak would be even better. We want to crack this kid, get on the golf course, and whatever. And it was a good movie. I mean, they did the TV series. I want to say based off the movie. That's how good the movie was. The show. I mean, Up the Creek, I would definitely suggest if you can find it. That'd be the one I'd suggest. Clerks 2, if you don't have to be a fan of Kevin Smith as Silent Bob or as a director. The movie was pretty good. There's a little 80s cheese in there with the we're going to break out in song. But there was a reason. It was I don't know, there was a reason. But they do a little dance number and it was like, okay, did that really happen? The Alicia Silverstone and whoever is remade Valley Girl, the movie starring Deborah Foreman and Nicolas Cage. And she's talking about it, and the daughter is like, hold on, wait. You guys you actually broke out in song and started dancing. That's the way I remember it. Yeah, really. Which I have no intention of seeing that one. I saw the original with Deborah Foreman, E.G. Daly, Elizabeth Daly. She was Pee-wee's, I don't want to say girlfriend, but in Pee-wee's Big Adventure, she was the person of the bike shop that, hey, Pee-wee, what are you doing? Oh, hi. Whatever it was. Another 80s flashback, John Eric Hexum and Elizabeth Daly were dating, and he did a thing on a set, and the cartridge thing, wasn't good. So in the scene where Pee-wee is on the stretcher, it sort of gave her a little flashback moment to the guy she had been dating, to where it wasn't good. I know my mind has been elsewhere a little bit lately, and I apologize if I kind of spaced out for a minute. I'm sure things will I don't want to say get back to normal, but hopefully they improve. Ooh, an hour. I apologize for that. I didn't even play a game or do trivia questions or anything. I gave some trivia on on a few certain things. Not like I'm going to give you a test. I don't even remember what the hell I was talking about. I hope you're having a good day, good morning, good evening, or good afternoon, and good night, or sleep well, or be awake very good. I don't. This is one of my shirts that is still good. Wait, okay, not very. Um, I can wear it under my work shirt at work. Is the thing. That way, I'm not getting too all hot and sweaty, and my work shirt is like, dude, you wearing that shirt again? Uh, It's like I have to wear it 2 or 3 days during the week because I don't have a washer and dryer. I have to take it out to the laundromat. So it's like once a week laundry, just because the washer and dryer here, people have been trying to break into the coin part just so I can get some. I need some coins. I don't know what the hell they're thinking, morons. It's been hot in the hallway, so they have the front door propped open, and I'm thinking, why not open up your window? You have a screen on your window. Let air circulate. But no, they want to prop the fucking front door open, let bugs inside. Maybe we'll end up with rats because they fucking prop the door open. They leave food in the freaking laundry room. Nobody gives a fuck. They throw their trash on the floor. Which is why I've been trying to save money so I can move. I figure a nice big lotto win would get me the fuck out. I'd be like, peace out. What about your stuff? I can live without a lot of that shit. I don't fuck. You figure half these clothes are beyond beyond repair. Uh, I don't even think homeless people would want these. But yeah, there's reasons. Yeah. Hope all is well with you. Please be kind to each other. You don't know what kind of shit we're going through. You're going through shit. They're going through shit. If we'd all just talk about it and get it out, it's like, look, I'm going through some shit. Are you going through some shit? Let's talk about it. Maybe we can help each other get through it. Or, different day, different shit. Different day, same shit. Maybe different day, different shit. But we're all going through stuff, and if we could all just like get together and just kind of work it out to where it's stuff. People have expressed they want that. It's like, look, I'm here if you need me. Just talk to me. I don't know what to say. This is concerning my mother passing away not even 5 days ago. It was the evening of the 15th. I don't I don't really want to. I don't want to discuss that. It's I know it. I hear it. It's in my head. I know it's happened. I am just not sure if I'm able to deal with it right now because you figure at work I'm spaced out. I'm getting my work done. I'm focused on that, which is probably why I've been getting done sooner than usual. Instead of taking my sweet ass time, I got all night to do this. I'm gonna go over here and joke. La 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 la. Other people do that. It's like, hey, you got it. Yeah, hey man, hey, what? Oh yeah, stuff. Yeah, and then their favorite friend. They get their stuff done. I just, yeah, my mind has been elsewhere with this, so I don't. It hasn't quite hit me to the point of right there hit me. Uh, I'll probably discuss things that my mom liked at that point when I'm trying to deal with it. Willie Nelson, Neil Diamond, the movie, as far as I know, the movie. I know she loved watching John Wayne movies. Um, Gone with the Wind. I got her a plate of not Cary Grant. Give me a second. Clark Gable, same initials. Clark Gable as Rhett Butler. I'm not sure if not Vivian Lee. Vivian Lee? Yeah, Vivian Lee as Scarlett O'Hara. I'm not sure if she was in on in the picture as well, but it was a plate from wherever. I don't remember when I got her that. It was either Christmas or her birthday. Um, 1992, 91. It was after I went to college for like 3 to 6 months. My grades weren't up to snuff, so they were like, unless there's a reason you can think of us for keeping you here, not a damn thing. So it's like I was gone. Moved back home. No direction in life. I'm just, some people are like, okay, this is what I'm gonna do. This is what I'm gonna do. This is where I'm gonna. Okay, okay. Get to here. Get to there. Get to there. Go to here from there. Go up. And yeah, me. I wake up. I go to work. I come home. I go to sleep. I play online for a bit. Can't recall the last time I watched an actual movie. I've been trying to write my follow-up books. Follow up to Anywhere But Here and the McKnight and Day um, detective book. And I varied on the title. I don't. I think I know what it's going to be because the one detective has something has happened to him twice, and he survived both times. And he figures, you know what? I don't think I'm going to be lucky the next time if that ever happens again. So he's going to quit the detective business. Just he's going to. I can't do this. I mean, I can be a consultant. I don't. How many private detectives do you know in real life? Is there a thing in the book, in the phone book? Ooh, private detective. It doesn't happen. It's in the movies. It's on TV. I mean, I'm sure there are some things like that. I just don't. It doesn't really happen too often. And you figure depending on the town, I mean, if it's a big town, I can understand them having one. It's like why JB Fletcher from Murder She Wrote went to other places. And I want to say they joked about it in one of the either one of the shows or in one of the TV movies they did. And it's like, oh, there's been a murder and JB Fletcher is here. Yeah, who'd have thought? Or what a surprise. I want to say Craig Ferguson did a joke on that. I think it was him. He was dressed up as uh, Jessica Fletcher, and I don't know, maybe it was somebody else. Joked about it um, about she actually did it, but she was able to pin it on someone else. I know that he had joked that I currently you look at her and or you look at Mrs. Fletcher, Jessica Fletcher, and all I see is Paul McCartney. So I want to say in an episode of the show, Paul McCartney is dressed up as. Uh, I could be wrong on that. I think it may have been Craig Ferguson joking. Ooh, am I Jessica Fletcher? Oh, am I Paul McCartney? Uh, I think he had mentioned that Paul McCartney had sent him a letter. Yeah, thanks for that. I could be wrong. You figure Craig Ferguson hasn't been on the air for that show in a while, so I'm over an hour. I should actually let you go. I hope all is well with you. I really do. Uh, Thank you for watching. Thank you.